Well, it's finally on the ground and reasonably closer. The wheels are the Jeg Sportlight 15 by 10 with 5.5-inch backspace on the rear. Then the fronts are 15 by 7 with 4-inch backspace. Tires 235 60 15 on the front and 295 50 15 on the back of it. Center caps I'm probably going to sand and polish because they don't really match the wheels. They're more of a silver color to it. I got the stock lug nuts on there, and then I got chrome lug nut caps to go on once it's all done. But exhaust wise, clearance, I think it was all worth it. Uh, doesn't run yet, but it's getting closer to it. So you can see I got a bunch of clearance. The Flowmasters still got a lot of clearance between the ground and the bottom of them. The car doesn't have any fuel in it, so it'll sit maybe 2 inches lower with a full tank of fuel. But I think it should be good. I'm happy with how it turned out. There's a lot of work, but I mean, the end result I think looks pretty good. But I think the sound is what's really going to matter on it. The exhaust tips, I try to keep them in a hidden kind of position. Then I painted the exhaust is all painted black. So depending on what angle you are, you really can't see them, or you might see just a little bit of them. See, they don't really stick out a whole lot. No. But the wheels pretty much sit right at the edge of the fender. I did roll the fender lip a little bit just in case it bottoms out. I did cut the bump stops off because it was just way too close to the tire. It would probably end up cutting the tire. But if it's an issue, I can redesign a different style bump stop and weld it to where the spring is. But I'll cross that bridge if it becomes an issue. But you know, for the most part, I mean, it looks fairly decent. The exhaust, I wrapped the pipes just because it's so close to that brake line and running along the back of the seat. So the driver's side is wrapped pretty heavy, and then the passenger side I'll wrap it but not as heavy, and I'll just kind of do it so it is wrapped up by the seat and by the fuel tank. But fuel system is almost done. I guess it's kind of hard to see in there, but I changed the position, so, and then I got the adapters to get it all to connect. It's still a return style system with a regulator in the engine bay, 3/8 up and 5/16 back. It's all metal line and it's all bent. Wasn't easy, but it's all bent to fit into the car. So I have one small section to make a connection from the regulator to the carburetor. So it'll be metal line, rubber connection, and then all back to metal line up to the carburetor. I got a new quadrajet for it. Right now I'm working on the wiring, trying to fix what was cut and put relays in. So with the headers that I used, the AC box doesn't fit. I mean, it is what it is. I wasn't going to buy another set of headers. So the heat only box that he had put in here, I just cleaned it up and repainted it. The foam seal I got off of eBay is 3/8 foam seal, and it's flexible enough to where you can make one solid piece out of it. So I just got to bolt that down, and the blower motor is for a heat only box. I tried to see if the AC blower motor would work, but it's too long. Even if you switch the fan blade on there, it still doesn't fit. So this one works. I tested it with the battery. We'll see what happens. So it's just heat only car. So instead of keeping the delete pulleys over here with the AC delete pulley, I ended up ordering the old style or early 80s uh, alternator bracket for it. That doesn't work with the water pump, so I'm waiting for the water pump to come in. I got the aluminum water pump for it, and then I got the power steering brackets. So I need to get the pulley kit from March and a double groove pulley for the power steering pump. It'll be just an early style 3rd gen or GM setup on it with a serpentine belt and dual V belt for the power steering. For the coolant and washer, I didn't like having the tanks on the fenders, so I switched over to the 90s, early 90s, 91, 92 F-150 dual tank and just made a bracket for it. The tank has 2 tabs, so it's got 2 bolts on each end bolted to the bracket, and then at the bottom of the washer tank there's a groove or a slot to fit a 3/8 flange bolt to give it support, so when it's full it's not sagging down. And then I just use one of the holes at the bottom of the battery tray for support. So it has a nut there and washer, then on the bottom side is another nut and washer, and then the 3/8 flange bolt is sitting on the bottom of this, so it doesn't move anywhere. We're connecting it 3/8 line. Will go, it'll be a rubber line to the hard line. Hard line comes over, I just made some little brackets, and then it comes up and goes into the radiator. So it's still the same amount of slope for the coolant. And then I got a pigtail for the Ford washer pump. I'll wire to the GM old style, old wiring. So that'll make the washer work. So it's kind of just waiting on parts. I mean, it's closer, it's assembled. The interior is in there. These seats were in a GTA in the junkyard. No rips, no stains, they don't smell bad. I put these in there just because they were better than the ones that were in here. The interior is pretty much in there outside of the door panels. I just got to finish the door panels. But that's how the rear seat looks with the floor pan raised up. It doesn't look any different than what it did from the factory, other than the gap from the seat bottom to the top is probably a little bit closer. But it folds down, seat belts go in, so it doesn't look any different. So that worked out. So I'm just kind of plugging along and putting stuff together, and I mean, it's closer than what it was. It's a matter of having time and the parts to do it. And that's it.